Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon here in Alberta. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today on UNDRIP Bill C-15. I'm presenting to you today from the traditional territory of the Tsuut'ina Nation near Calgary, Alberta, and the traditional territory of the 7 Chief First Nations in southern Alberta. Good afternoon, respected senators, chiefs, and elders. My name is Dale Swampy. I'm a member of the Stamps Cree Nation in Alberta. I'm the president of the National Coalition of Chiefs, or NCC, a coalition of industry supportive chiefs from across Canada working together to defeat unreserved poverty through the cooperation, support, and full participation in Canada's national resource industry. In our last conference, we had 81 chiefs from across Canada. This conference on September 19th and 20th, we're hoping to get the Prime Minister and the new AFN leader to speak at our conference. The NCC leadership believes that the Indigenous community in Canada experienced a crisis in poverty. Poverty has destroyed most of our family structure, a structure that has made us a proud community. The loss of our family structure has made us reliant on a social welfare society. This society has created the social ills that devastates our people to this day. Ills like the lack of education, the lack of employment, the lack of proper health, and of course, the lack of prosperity. We are inundated with teenage suicide, domestic abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, murder and missing women and girls, abnormally high levels of children in care, and racism. The NCC believes that poverty within our community has created these social ills, and the only way to cure these ills is to defeat poverty. The only way to defeat poverty is getting our family structure back. And the only way to get our family structure back is to get our family leaders employed. And the best way to get employment is through our largest industry in Canada, our natural resource industry. The NCC believes that the new UNDRIP legislation will not enhance our ability to defeat poverty, to participate in Canada's prosperous economy. During the last 150 years, our Indigenous communities have never participated fully in Canada's economy. We have been sidelined on remote third world type reserve economies for far too long. The federal government has tried and failed for decades to bring us out of poverty. If UNDRIP is truly a form of reconciliation, then why doesn't the federal government follow its own recommendations from their 1996 Royal Commission study on Indigenous peoples and grant First Nations ownership, as they recommended, of 30% of the lands and resources owned by the federal government? This is real, tangible, and true reconciliation. Who better to own and effectively manage resource development, natural resource development, than the Indigenous peoples of Canada? In the 1970s, the United States granted 13 Alaska tribes ownership of millions of acres of land and natural resources in Alaska. Those communities are now the most prosperous Indigenous communities on the planet. Our fellow government promised that UNDRIP was a form of reconciliation, but all it seems to give us is more power to say no to project development, and as a result, say no to prosperity. We need support for rights to move us towards prosperity. Why is it so hard for the government to understand that First Nations have ownership rights to lands and resources in this country? UNDRIP may be supportive to Indigenous peoples in many ways. However, the legislation that's currently drafted is likely to have negative impacts on the many Indigenous communities that rely on resource development as a source of jobs, business contracts, and own source revenues. Symbolic gestures of reconciliation should not come at the expense of food on the table for Indigenous peoples. I have spent my professional life in First Nations administration and in the oil and gas industry and know firsthand what happens when federal bureaucracy gets in the way of development. However well-intentioned C-15 is, my discussions with legal experts, industry representatives, and investment bankers have persuaded me it is introducing another layer of uncertainty and risk to development in Indigenous territories. That is because it adds the confusion about who has the authority to provide or deny consent on behalf of Indigenous people, be it Chief and Council of Hereditary Chiefs or small group of activists. It also implies that a single nation can deny consent, a veto in practice if not by name, on projects that cross dozens territories, be it pipelines, railroads, or electrical transmission lines. I think the uncertainty in this legislation makes it likely that it will be used to delay resource development projects by groups that expose extractive and other resource projects under any circumstances. The added uncertainty hurdles and risk to development on Indigenous territory makes it difficult for our nations and businesses to attract investment, and more expensive when they can due to risk premiums. Undermining our own economy is not only a recipe for prosperity. Undermining our own economy is not a recipe for prosperity and self-determination. The NCC has provided comments on several bills, including the tanker ban, and we expect this bill will be passed. We hope that our comments will be taken seriously and that the action plans includes pro-development chiefs like our group and does not focus entirely on AFN recommendations. Thank you for your time and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Swampy. I'd like to open the meeting to questions.